Hello and welcome to By the Book. This is the podcast for women in their second season, navigating reinvention, calling, business, and the sacred transitions of midlife. I'm Johanne Hewlett, and I'll be helping you to build your God-led business with faith, wisdom, and confidence. So let's begin. By the Book. As we continue this January Reset series, I want to remind you again what this season is for, because it runs so counter to how we're used to thinking. Now, this isn't about momentum, and it's not about planning just yet, and it's not about getting something off the ground just yet. This is about order. Now, in the last episode, we talked about the difference between calling and assignment, and how God often changes the work without changing the purpose. Today, we're going to go one layer deeper, because once we accept that assignments can change, a very natural question follows. What needs to be in place before I step into whatever God is doing next? And Scripture gives us a clear, consistent answer. Order comes before output. If you've lived much of your life being capable, responsible, reliable, now this truth can feel surprisingly unsettling, because we're so used to measuring readiness by our competence or our motivation, opportunity, and urgency. So we assume that when we can act, we should act. But God's measure of readiness is different. He is far less concerned how quickly we move, and far more concerned with under what authority we do it. When you read Scripture slowly, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. You see, God establishes authority, alignment, and order way before he releases the assignment. Before Moses leads, God reveals himself and defines relationship. Before Joshua enters the land, God calls him to courage and obedience. Before David reigns, he submits to years of hidden formation. And even before Jesus begins his ministry, he withdraws, fasts, and submits. God never sends someone forward who hasn't first been anchored. And when we reverse that order, we feel it in anxiety, striving, and pressure. Now, midlife creates a unique vulnerability to hustle, not the loud kind, but the quiet, respectable kind. It sounds like, I don't want to waste time. I should make this season count. I've learned so much. Surely I should be using it. Now, those thoughts, they're not wrong, but they can become dangerous when urgency replaces obedience. Because urgency asks, what can I do now? Whereas obedience asks, what has God ordered first? When Scripture speaks about authority, it's not talking about domination or hierarchy in the worldly sense. Biblical authority is about right alignment. It's about knowing who you answer to, whose voice you're going to trust, and what governs your decisions. Authority is not reflective, it's protective. A life built under God's authority can move slowly and fruitfully, quietly and powerfully. Many women are waiting for peace after they act, but in God's economy, peace usually comes before action. Peace is not necessarily a reward, it's a signal, and it tells you that you're aligned and submitted and you're not striving. When action flows from peace, it creates weight. But when action flows from anxiety, it creates exhaustion. So here's a gentle diagnostic question. Am I trying to make something work that God hasn't ordered yet? Now, misorder doesn't necessarily look like sin, Often it looks like forcing clarity or rushing timing. I know I've done that lots in the past. It's planning without peace and building without authority, getting ahead, before you're ready. And because you're capable, you can make it work. But fruit produced outside of order is fragile. God's slowness is not always reluctance, it's precision. He slows us down not to frustrate us, although it does feel like it, but to establish foundations that carry weight, especially in our second season, because what you build now, it must support wisdom, longevity, influence, and faithfulness. God is far more interested in sustainability than speed. If you feel restless right now, not because you lack vision, but because you sense restraint, that may be obedience. You're not behind because you're not producing, and you're not late because you're not visible yet. You may simply be in a season where God is ordering your inner life before expanding your outer work. And that is not wasted time. That is preparation. As we continue this January Reset series, the next tension we need to address sits right at the heart of modern Christian culture, because once God begins to establish order, another question rises. If I'm not meant to rush, and if I'm not meant to strive, how do I trust that quiet obedience actually matters? Now, in the next episode, we'll talk about faithfulness over visibility and why some of the most powerful futures are built in seasons no one applauds. And if you've ever felt unseen while being obedient, that conversation will speak directly to you. If you like this episode, please make sure that you download your free daily check-in worksheet. It's a simple morning rhythm that helps you to hear God and find clarity and stay anchored as you step into your second season. You'll find the link in the show notes. If you're feeling called to rebuild your life or business with God at the centre, you can now order your copy of my book, By the Book. It's a beautiful, practical, spirit-led guide for women rising later in life. And if you're ready to go deeper right now, I have created 2 powerful courses to walk this journey with you. The links are in the show notes. Choose the one which suits the season you are in. Until next time, go gently, go boldly, go by the book.